I want to hear more about some of the designers that you worked with, maybe some specific stories. I know you mentioned, I think, Tommy, but who else were designers that you worked with?
I worked with quite a few different characters. I think yesterday I mentioned Ralph Lauren to you, which was a company that was still growing. They were based in a townhouse in the 50s with lots of little rooms, and they were an early name in my roster. I did work with Tommy Hilfiger and Ginny, his sister, when she was still there. And more lately, I've worked with Lars Nielsen when he was at Nina Ricci. That was quite a good experience. I already mentioned Dries Van Noten yesterday as being one of my favorite designers to work with. Often I don't work with the guy at the top of the brand, but with skilled people who are trying to fill a particular slot, either for textile development or for pattern development. So it's always a question of trying to get the essence of what they envision for their next line. Sometimes people send me visual references now that we're in the internet days, but in the very beginning, all the clues had to be verbal, and thus you have verbal designers just trying to give their concept. You have visual designers trying to work verbally, and I'm trying to interpret it verbally, and not all visual designers are good at words, and then depending on their background and their historical knowledge, that varies too. So it's a constant juggling. What do you mean by a lively pattern? What do you mean by retro? These are big areas, and different people have something exactly in mind when they talk about it. But what does it look like?
So you have to learn how to interpret these words.
A lot of this is interpretation, and it's cross-cultural interpretation too, because when I look at a textile, I might say, oh, of course that's from northern India, or I remember seeing that from a hill tribe in Laos. But somebody else might look at it, the end customer from Abercrombie, and say, that's Asian. That's their framework. Asian this, African that, South American, very general.
Some of the patterns that you would show designers, would you ever see them in the line later on, or would you be able to recognize?
Oh yeah, that's so fun when you're just walking down the street and you say, hey, I know that skirt. I've seen that before, different colors. That's another interesting point. Some designers totally play with the pattern, use it as inspiration. Other people might just take the colorway, the palette, because that's fresh and that's what they like. Other people are going to use the design exactly as they find it, which is okay if it's a very old handmade swatch, but it's not really the intention of this business. It's supposed to be for inspiration.